Hey folks, it's Pat that Halloween movie collector, back with another one of my top 10 albums from a year, one of my favorite years. Now we're entering the 90s. 1990 was a big year for me. Year I graduated high school, went off to trade school, a little bit of college, moved out of my house, partied a lot. That's why I look like this. But there was some good music. This was a very transformative year because now we're getting out of like the quote-unquote hair metal years, and you're starting to drift into a little bit of grunge. So this is where the transformation is going to be the next 2 years in my top 10 lists. And 90s got some good stuff. It's another year. I'm telling you, man, it's hard to whittle down to 10. And like I said before in all these videos, before everybody jumps down my throat, this is not the be-all sale. It's not a critical review. It's simply my favorite 10 to get a conversation going with other people to throw their 10 in there, and let's talk about it. So without further ado, there's a lot of honorable mentions, as usual. So I'm going to throw them up now, and then we'll get into my top 10, my favorite albums of 1990. Here we go. Right? As usual, a bunch of albums that people like probably scratch their head. That's not an honorable mention. You don't have that in your top 10? It's all subjective, and I can only squeeze so much I can squeeze in. I can't fit 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. It doesn't work. So I have to pick the 10 that I think were the ones I listen to the most. That's usually how I do it. Whether it's right or wrong in people's eyes, doesn't matter. It's all subjective. So put your list at the bottom. So let's do this with number 10. So my number 10, released on March 27th of 1990, Social Distortions. I believe this was their third album. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Titled Social Distortion, and probably arguably their biggest album. It's got all the hits on it, like my songs I love, Story of My Life, Ball and Chain. They do a great version of Ring of Fire on here, and I just love Social Distortion. I've always loved their like callback to 50s rockabilly. Now, Mike Ness was like the 80s, 90s version of rockabilly. You know, a heavier version of the Stray Cats, if you want to look at it that way, because the Stray Cats really brought back rockabilly in the 80s, much like Robert Gordon and Link Wray did in the 70s. Stray Cats did in the 80s, and towards the tail end of the 80s into the 90s, there's Social Distortion with a much heavier edge, and I love it. Great vocals on it. I always loved his guitar leads, stage presence, just everything about Social Distortion I love. And that's a band I could kick myself in the ass that I've never seen live. And every time they come around, for some reason, I can't fucking go. But I'll catch them one of these days. But my number 10, if you haven't heard Social Distortion, you don't know what you're missing. Go listen to Social Distortion. My number 9, released on September 3rd of 1990. Don't kill me that this is so low on this list. I love this album. But there's so many other albums from this group that I do like, so that's why it's landing here for the reason it's landing. My number 9, Judas Priest, Painkiller. Yes, I know it's their transformative album. It's their last album before Halford was gone for a little bit. But it brought in Scott Travis on drums and just completely changed the dynamic of the band. Because they went from 70s British metal, not necessarily proggy, but I don't know which, prog sort of almost like proto-punk in the beginning to prog, and then to sort of just basic rock in the early 80s, but then 1990 came in, and man, they kicked it in the ass, and they were fucking hardcore with Painkiller. So, and I love it. Most Judas Priest albums on this list were much higher, and there's nothing other than the fact that some of the albums before just like a little bit more. I like my Priest, but I'm more of a Priest 70s fan. I love vintage Priest. So that's why they all landed a lot higher for me. That's what I grew up on. I mean, you give me Sin After Sin any day. British Steel any day. Give me Point of Entry any day. That's, Rock-a-Rolla. That's the stuff I love. Great songs on here. All Guns A Blazing, Between the Hammer and the Anvil. I mean, there's some good stuff on here. And of course, the breakout hit Painkiller, everybody knows. So, it lands at number 9. I do like it. I do listen to it a lot. Because I listen to Priest a lot, that's why. So I usually, I'm an old fart. I still use iTunes and a freaking iPod and keep that shit. I have my Priest mix. I have my Kiss mix. I have my King's X mix. I have Zeppelin. I have all these different mixes. That's just because that's what old farts like me do. I'm not a Spotify guy or any of the other shit that's out there. Pandora. I don't even know what any of that nonsense is. I'm too fucking old for that shit. Right, my number 8, released on September 24th of 1990. One of my favorite bands, Megadeth, Rust in Peace. Same reason I say this should be higher, because I had a lot of the Megadeth a little bit higher than this. I love Rust in Peace, but some of the other albums just a little bit better. But you have Rust in Peace on here, Holy War's The Punishment, Hangar 18. I mean, this album just fucking kicks ass. Arguably one of their best albums. My favorite from them is still Peace Sells, but Rust in Peace is probably my second. Right, is right there with it. And I always loved Dave Mustaine, loved his guitar playing. I just love his songwriting. I always liked his voice. I love that voice that he's got, you know? I mean, you can always speculate what Metallica would have sounded like down the road had he not been kicked out of the band. You know, it would have been, you always wonder about that. I mean, it's in the years since then, they've kind of buried the hatchet. They've been on tours together. Guys, you know, we're all on this planet for a short while. Let's do something together. How much fun would that be? You know, just a thought out there for you folks. Number 7, released on February 13th of 1990. Black Crowes and Shake Your Money Maker. Now this album, God, I played the shit out of this goddamn album. Funny story is, I had never even heard of Black Crowes. So like I said, I grew up in New Jersey. 1990 was the time where I had graduated high school rather. Moved out a month later, moved down to Jersey Shore with my roommate and my girlfriend at the time, and just did a lot of partying. We used to go to a lot of shows. We used to go to a lot of the famous haunts down there, like the Stone Pony. If you guys are interested, you know, from the Jersey area, or if you're a Springsteen fan, you know where the Stone Pony is. And I remember we had gone to see, of all things, we had seen a band called Spread Eagle, because I was into, you know, heavier shit, just like I still am. And we had seen them in a club called Club Benet in Sayreville. And we ran to a bunch of people that we knew and just say, we just came for the Stone Pony to see Black Crowes. And we were like, who the fuck is the Black Crowes? Never heard of them. Because it was right around the time the album was released. I hadn't even heard any of the stuff on the radio, no nothing. And then, boy, did I start hearing it. I was like, that's the band that they went and saw. I'm like, shit, I would have went and saw them too. I mean, they just busted out with some really good stuff here with, obviously, the great, the cover that they did of Otis Redding's Hard to Handle. She Talks to Angels, Twice as Hard, Jealous Again. I mean, this album's just riddled with classic rock. And my thing is, if you're into like the blues like I am, I mean, I'm a metalhead, but I love the blues. Never understood. They named the album Shake Your Money Maker, but they didn't do a cover of the song Shake Your Money Maker, which I think they did it live. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I don't think they ever recorded it. But this album is just top to bottom is some classic rock and blues, and it just kicks ass. My number 6, released on October 10th of 1990, Iron Maiden, No Prayer for the Dying. Now, this was the last album to feature Dickinson before he left for a bit. And the first album, if I remember, Yannick Gears had replaced Adrian Smith, because Adrian Smith had stepped away from the band for a little bit. And it's got some good stuff on it. It's probably, it's not, I love my Maiden. It's not one I reach for all that much, but when I do a deep dive into it, because it really does have some good stuff on it. No Prayer for the Dying, Fate's Warning. And of course, the hit that they had at the time was Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. That was like the big breakout hit on the album. And I didn't see this tour because I forget why I didn't see this tour. Because I had seen pretty much every Maiden tour back in the day. I forget why. It must have just passed me by. This album sort of slid under the radar for me. Although the song Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter was pretty big. It had an MTV video at the time. I remember it was a big hit in the UK, moderately here in the States. But just another stellar release by Steve Harrison Company. So I can't complain. My number 5, released on July 19th of 1990, Extreme 2, Pornography. Sophomore effort from the band Extreme. This album put them on the map in 1990. I fell in love with this album. I still love it. I listen to this album a lot because I'm a guitar player. I love Nuno Betancourt's guitar playing, and I love his sound on this album. Holy shit. He's got such a... this is his version of he's got his own version of Eddie Van Halen's Brown sound. Like, you hear Eddie Van Halen's, what they call the Brown sound, you hear it on the first 3 albums. You hear it on Van Halen 1, you hear it on Van Halen 2, you hear it on Diver Down, you hear it on Women and Children First. He's got that chunk sound from those fucking tube amplifiers that he modified. And somehow, some way, there's a chunk sound that Nuno Bettencourt always got from his guitars. He had those N4 guitars, and I'm forgetting who the fuck makes them. I can't remember. I forget who makes the N4 guitars, his own guitars. They got such a great sound, and this album just kicks ass. From It's a Monster, Decadence Dance, He-Man Woman Hater. Of course, they had the hits, MTV hits like More Than Words, Wholehearted, Get the Funk Out. This album's just got so much shit on it, man. I mean, I know they got a bad rap because of More Than Words, because it was all those bands had that ballady fucking bullshit song. You know what? Hey, it was like all the girls like that shit. So I mean, I wouldn't fault them. I'd do the same fucking shit if I was in the band at the time. But there's so much good stuff on here that I listen to this album a lot. And that guy, man, you can say what you want about Extreme if you don't like it, but that guy can fucking play. And Gary Cherone, don't shit on that guy. That guy can sing his ass off. I mean, he sort of got a raw deal joining Van Halen, because I think he was, when I first heard that he was going to join Van Halen, I was like, you know what? Hey, that might be it might be something good. I like Gary Cherone as a singer, as a performer. I saw Extreme twice. I saw them on this tour. As a matter of fact, Spring Valley, New York. A few people at World Stage. Great show. I was right up front for them. And I saw them years later on, I don't know how to pronounce that fucking album, Saudages to something. Look, it's one of their albums that came out years ago. And there's a weird way of saying it, and I can never pronounce it right. And that was a great tour. They were really, actually, it was a package tour. It was Extreme and Rat, as a matter of fact. But Gary Cherone, yeah, he kind of got a raw deal with the Van Halen thing. I'm not going to say Van Halen 3 was all that good. It really wasn't. It wasn't a good pairing. I think it could have been better, but I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. I'll leave that one alone. But number 4, released on October 23rd, 1990, one of my favorite bands of all time, King's X and Faith, Hope, and Love. Big King's X fan. I've professed my love for them. I think they made maybe one more before this. I think they made for Gretchen Goes to Nebraska. I think maybe 2 times they made the list. I forget, but this was pretty much their breakout album. It put them on the map. With songs like It's Love, We Were Born to Be Loved, Moan Jam, Mr. Wilson. This album, if you've never, funny story, a good friend of mine is a drummer, and we used to hang out all the time, and he didn't know, he's like, I heard of King's X, but I really didn't like them. I'm like, you're a drummer? You don't, come here. We were driving around, we were hanging out, I kept putting on King's X, and he was like, you were fucking right, these guys are fucking amazing. I said, I know. King's X was always the musicians' band, because they were such like the band that the bands liked. They never had big commercial success. I mean, they had a little bit of commercial success after this with Dogman, but they never really broke out like they should have. But they like the musicians' band's band. And this album just kicks ass from top to bottom. I mean, you want to go hear some amazing musicianship and great harmonies, too. They never get enough credit for their harmonies. The way the 3 of those guys harmonize together, it's like heavy Crosby, Stills, and Nash as far as the harmony is concerned. But yeah, King's X, love them. My number 3, released on July 24th, 1990, Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. The Art of Shredding, for God's sake. I mean, come on. I remember I had heard some Pantera before this, and it just didn't come and grab me. But man, you heard that opening riff, the Cowboys from Hell, and you were like, whoa, who the fuck are these guys? From Texas, no less. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, what an incredible band, incredible guitar player in the late great Dimebag Darrell. This album just screams from the start to finish. From Message in Blood, Method Man, Cemetery Gates, and of course the iconic Cowboys from Hell, for God's sakes. Yeah, man, could you imagine how much more he could have given us had that tragedy never happened? I would go see the incarnation they have touring now with Phil Anselmo and Zach Wilde and Charlie Benanti. I would go see that just for shits and giggles, just to hear the songs being sung by him, and that Zach would be faithful to music, and it seems to be doing pretty well. I just don't think they've been anywhere near me to see them. So I would go see it because I saw Pantera. I saw them twice back in the day. I saw them in so living in northern New Jersey, they used to do a thing every summer in the Meadowlands parking lot, which was where the old Giant Stadium is, where it was rather, and where MetLife Stadium is now. And they used to set up like an outdoor amphitheater in the parking lot, and they had a name for it, like Summer Concert Series or some bullshit. And it was Pantera and Skid Row, and Skid Row was the hometown heroes because they were from Jersey. So I went to saw them there, but I saw them at the same place. There used a few people in people in Rockland County that were in Spring Valley. I saw a lot of shows there. That's where I saw Extreme. That's where I saw Pantera for the first time. They played at World Stage in Spring Valley. And story is, I mean, they had no backstage there. So the backstage of the building was the back of the building. So they would have it all cordoned off and the band would be hanging out there. And I remember my friends and I, we all went to the show. We're walking by and I look over and I'm like, hey, look, there's Pantera. So Vinnie Paul, I saw Phil Anselmo. So, of course, we're young kids. We don't give a shit. So we went over and, of course, security. No, you guys got to go. And late great Dimebags credit came right over and he said, well, what's up, guys? I said, no, we just want to say hello. I mean, this is before the days of fucking cell phones. We didn't have cameras or anything like that. It was 1990. Comes over, shakes our hand. Hey, guys. I'm like, oh, man, we can't wait. He's like, enjoy the show. He was, bless that man. We couldn't have been nicer. Vinnie Paul came over. Phil Anselmo didn't come over. He was kind of over in the corner with a plus on his face, but I'll never forget that. And who would have thought years later what would happen? But that's my Pantera story. My number 2, released on August 21st of 1990. This album landed on my doorstep like a blockbuster. Alice in Chains Facelift. Now we're hitting the grunge era. I had a friend of mine who was a guitar player. We used to play guitar together. I took guitar lessons from the same guitar teacher. And we just like to talk music. And he's like, have you heard of this band Alice in Chains? And I'm like, Alice in who? He's like, you got to listen to this. And he gave me the CD. And I took it home. And I'm like, dude, this is some fucking crazy, heavy shit. And little did I know what that was, the doorstep right there with grunge. And I was like, wow, holy crap. That is some incredible stuff there. Just Lane Staley's voice, Trevor Cantrell's guitar playing. The songs were so deep. It was like a modern day Sabbath, that album. But if you listen to the lyrics, just incredible songs. And man, The Box, of course, was the big breakout song. We had Love, Hate, Love, Bleed the Freak. There's so much good stuff on here. I love the second album just as much. And most of the albums with Lane Staley. So, yeah, this is where everything changed. And you can change. Everything's going to have this. Everything's got its time. And this, I like when new things come in because, as old stuff runs its course. So, but you don't shit on the old stuff because you liked it, but that doesn't mean shit on it and run away from it because you did like it at the time. But the new stuff came in and it came in like a whirlwind. And my number 1, and you guys were probably all expecting this if you know me, released on September 25th, 1990, exactly 2 days shy of 1 month of his tragic passing. The Vaughn Brothers, Family Style. We lost Steve Ray Vaughan exactly 2 days, 1 month before. 2 days shy of 1 month. We lost him, and this came out after that. And it broke my fucking heart that he passed away. I've ad nauseum talked about my love for this man and how he changed my guitar style and changed music for me and just made me want to be a better guitar player. And I can just talk about it to my face is blue. And honestly, he's only going to appear one more time because he has a posthumous album coming out in a couple of years, and that's probably the only time that you'll see him on this list again. So, and this is him and his brother for years. For those that seen him live, his brother Jimmy from the Fabulous Thunderbirds, they always, they would intersect and meet each other and they jam on stage together. Did a great thing where Jimmy would be behind Stevie and he'd be fretting everything and Stevie would be playing, and those two were just incredible together. And they talked about doing an album forever. They finally did it, and it's fucking amazing. It's got the most amazing shit. I would have loved to have seen that tour had he not been tragically killed. And yeah, so it just sucks. It just, every time I talk about it, and this is now, I listen to it a lot. I mean, a lot. There's some great stuff on here from Hard to Be, Good Texan, the Telephone Song, Dallas Fort Worth, Mama Said. And, you would never expect Stevie to write a song about like social issues or whatever. And he's got a real great sentimental song called TikTok on there. Go listen to it. It's got some amazing words and it's got amazing meaning that once he cleared himself up of drugs and alcohol, I could only imagine what he would have done, because he just got better and better, and we just didn't have a chance to see it. It's a damn shame. So that's my number one, the Vaughn Brothers, Family Style. There you have it, folks. We've entered the new decade, the 1990s. That is my 10 favorite albums of 1990. Do me a favor, throw your 10 favorite albums down in the comments below. Let me know. Look through my honorable mentions. There's many times I miss them. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be. I just look through my CDs to see what I listen to, and that's it. And if I miss something, by all means, say, hey, Pat, what about this album? I'm like, oh, fuck, I should have put that in there. So don't be shy. Comment below, and give me your 10 from 1990. And while you do it, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Helps people find this channel. Helps people find these top 10 lists that I love to do. I'm going to branch out, do a few more. I got some other ideas, because we're getting closer and closer to the age of bands that I really didn't like, so I don't know how I can do top 10s of that specific year, so we'll see. But I got some other shit brewing. There's always stuff brewing. Do me a favor, if you just happened upon this channel like you stepped in shit, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications, and you'll be notified when I go live or I do videos like this. And hopefully you had fun with this one. So that's it for me. I will be back shortly with my top 10 albums of 1991. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, all that happy horse shit that we always preach. And until then, I'll talk to you soon.